power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Well, you know, we have a theme. I just don't know where it went. That's weird.
I was trying to hit it before it caught. You see,
right.
Sort of match up.
Let's try this one.
That didn't work out at all.
Oh my gosh, we have a new computer system over here, and it's got some hangups and stuff. In fact, we may not even be, throwing video right now. It may just be us on the audio. So
it is hard to say. I mean, like Twitch. Yeah, I don't see video yet.
You don't see video yet? Okay.
The title page.
Then
I see our title page, but I don't see us.
That says Docking Bay 94.
Yeah.
Does it say 1138?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Okay, well then maybe we're good after all, because there's us.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
All right. Hey, Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby here.
Jeff Solo Donoho.
Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
Welcome to it, eh? We got a little growing pains here because I replaced my desktop computer after only 10 years. So that was pretty great. And the cameras didn't want to kick in. Nothing wanted to work.
Of course.
So we'll have to see. And let's see. I should also probably throw up our.
Doesn't look like it's streaming on Facebook yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. See, Facebook. There's either a hang up, or because Facebook doesn't like me specifically, it's griping at me right now. Yeah. Or conversely, it's not connected right. I'll play with it while we do it. I'm gonna pop open the chat here.
Yeah.
So that we can see what's going on with the chat. Except now it's over Jeff's face. Yay! Because, like I said, growing pains.
Man, it just hurts my eyes. That's all it does.
Right.
Well, we do have Laura, Scuddins, Don, Talon Thorn, all over on Twitch, and we have Alan on YouTube.
Hey, cool.
But I don't know Facebook. Right? Nobody, I guess.
All right, so Twitch and YouTube and whatever. I'll go check on Facebook while you guys chat it up. We missed last week. First off, because we all had COVID.
Yeah.
Jeff and I got it at a wedding. We brought it home to Colleen.
Woohoo!
Jeff managed to not bring it home to anybody on your side of things, right? Just you?
On my side?
Yeah. You didn't give it to anybody?
I mean, I don't. Sparrow just tested like the other day and was negative. So, and I think Kevin said he wasn't feeling well, but I don't think he is now. And Abria, I don't know. Because with her, it's hard to tell if it's me or another flare up because she just has the long hauler syndrome. So
right,
it's hard to tell sometimes. Long
COVID.
Yes. It's been since she got it when this whole damn thing started. Back in 20. So
can you believe it's been that long?
I know, dude.
It's just blowing my mind because I'm just. Like 3 years. It's crazy. And, I remember Disneyland shutting down. And, we had lunch the day before Disneyland shut down with Kit. And, all of this kind of stuff. It's just nuts. All right. Yeah, I don't see us on Facebook. There's a link to the YouTube page, which I find kind of amusing. So I guess
there's always a link to the YouTube
can
page.
Get there.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's a link to the YouTube page where the Facebook thing is supposed to be.
Oh, okay. Because usually there's one of each. Yeah.
Right. Because I posted clunk. Hey, look, there's a microphone in front of my face. There's a thing that I post that says, "Hey, this is what the show's about tonight," and click here for YouTube. And then we have another thing up that just started that says YouTube, which is weird, and I don't even know what that is. And then I think we are also streaming to Sci-Fi .radio.
Yeah, pretty sure.
So let's see if that's happening.
Turn it on and check.
Yes.
Post the link on my phone and see.
Except
I just lost my mouse.
Oh dear.
Technology.
Laura says we're playing on there, so
We're playing on sci-fi?
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yep. We are.
Okay,
Definitely.
great. So we got
Awesome.
that going for us. And I think it's just my personal page that they don't like me right now.
Good. That could be it.
and Laura said sci-fi radio is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just consider it as it is.
COVID was very mild for me, but
Oh, good.
even though it was mild, it felt like I had a cold, like
Ugh.
maybe Friday and Saturday. And Saturday I called in to our doctor's facility, and they have like a special COVID line that you can call.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And they got back to me very quickly, like within a couple
good.
of hours. And they looked over my medical record and said, even though it was mild, that they wanted me to do the Paxlovid.
Okay.
And I feel like, although I'm super grateful for the Paxlovid, and I'm super grateful that I have the antibodies afforded me from the
Vaccine and the
injections,
boosters and stuff.
vaccines. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
boosters.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why it was so mild. But it was hard not to complain about the horrific taste of the medicine that they give you. It's not just that it's I mean, like, I knew there was going to be a bad taste, a metallic taste, but
Yeah.
it tasted like my own saliva was made out of old dirty pennies that had been sitting in, you know, that little place in a front-loading washing machine that gets all the liquid in it and kind of molds.
The soap
If you
dispenser?
filled that with dirty pennies, that's what my saliva was made out of. It wasn't just that I had a
yay.
bad taste in my mouth. It was coming from inside
From
the
you,
building.
right?
Ugh.
Mine was very
Ugh.
Birdie Bott's any flavored bean, and it was like
Oh, really?
the nastiest earwax flavor. And the problem was, you could divert it by like, I will eat a piece of candy, and for the
Yeah.
as long as the candy is in your mouth, you could divert it just a little bit, and then
Yeah.
it would be gone, and then it would go, here I am.
I'm back.
Oh man, it was brutal.
Was it something that has to dissolve? Because I've never had that.
No, it's so it's a pack. It's a pack of 5 little foil packets, and the packets have a dose for the morning and a dose for the evening because it's a
Okay.
cocktail. So they've got
Yeah.
2 different types of medicine, and they're pills that you swallow.
Okay. Okay.
And then it just continues to cause your saliva to be flavored
Oh.
for
God.
approximately
No.
like 11 hours, 11 and a half,
Oh,
something
no,
like that.
no.
Yeah, it was really like not cool.
And also the
No.
first day that you take
Gross.
it, your saliva feels like it's really thick too.
Gotcha.
So it's like not just the flavor, it's the texture.
Hmm.
I'm grossing everybody out. But again, so grateful that I was able to take that, and that that whether it was due to the medication or the vaccination or just that I was one of the lucky people, so grateful that it was super mild.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had what was equivalent to a bad flu without throwing up. You know, there's still like all the body aches, the fever, the runny nose, cough, sore throat, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I
it was
think
for
that
it was
was
for a couple days.
that
3 or
was
4
pretty
days.
much Sean too.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I got, this was the second time I had it. I got hit pretty hard. Colleen and I had gone to Disneyland. We didn't know that we had anything going on. And so we had seen family, we had dinner, we hung out. Colleen and I went on Runaway Railway. Had just a couple hours at Disneyland. We got there at like 9. It closed at 11. We got in the
Yeah.
car. We started heading home, and I just started like going downhill fast. And
Like
by the
about
Oh,
15
man.
minutes from home, he started sneezing.
right, and I got chills, and the fever had kicked in, and
Yeah.
so by the time I actually got in to like go to bed, like first thing I did, I walked in and I took my temperature, because I'm like,
boy.
this is not normal. And I was at about
Yeah.
102.
Yeah.
And I run cold. My temperature when I go to the doctor is at about 96 point something.
Note that he
Okay.
didn't tell me that he had a temperature.
Well, I didn't want to freak you out, but there was like no way to sort of like
Well-
sugarcoat it at all because I was basically just a big frozen icicle.
So it would have been better to have freaked me out, because I wouldn't have freaked out. I would have made you take aspirin and get in a cool or lukewarm shower. So
Yeah.
I had solutions, not panic.
Yeah.
So I
think,
did find out when Sean texted my brother to tell him that he had COVID. I
yeah.
was part of that text, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a fun way to find out.
Yeah. Yeesh.
Well, because I was worried about them getting.
Yeah, totally.
Right? No, you definitely should have told them.
Yeah. I think I had like the normal situation that's like that, a flu thing was like a fever break kind of thing, but it was on Wednesday, like Wednesday night, was sleeping. And then Thursday was like, okay, that's over with. Now I have to get better. I was feeling better. And then like Friday, I was basically better on Friday.
Oh,
So-
that was shorter than me.
Yeah.
All I've had since then is just like, a cough once in a while that's productive cough,
Right.
That's all I've had,
Don
really.
says that he's been having a fever, but he's been testing. He tested 3 times and doesn't have COVID.
Oh, joy.
Well, that's cool.
But there are other things
Maybe
still
look
out
into
there.
look into whatever else it might be then.
Yeah.
Sometimes
dear.
the flu is just the flu.
Yep.
That's really fun.
Yeah, good gravy.
Let's see. So other than that, we pretty much were all confined to our homes. And
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, which was super not cool.
there
No,
wasn't much.
I'm
Sean
still
and
confined.
I'm sorry.
I'm still confined. I haven't been able to go back to work yet.
Sorry, Jeff.
So, yeah.
Sean tested, had 2 negative tests,
Yeah.
and I've
Monday
had 1
and
negative
Wednesday.
test,
And so
I
I
test
actually
again
went out
tomorrow.
today. I got
Okay.
Colleen some more tests. That's my big
Oh, yeah.
trip out.
And what's funny is he, in the parking lot of one of the places he went, somebody
Yeah.
gave him a hard time for wearing a mask. And he's like, do you want me to give you COVID?
Yeah, it was really funny. He came up to talk to the
Yeah,
car, and he's
Jesus
like, "Oh, the
Christ.
car is cool, whatever." And then I put the mask on because I was going into Target, and the guy's like, did one of those snort kind of things, like, really? And I just kind of looked at him, and I'm like, I'm getting over COVID, and my wife still has it,
Yeah. Would you like
and, which
me to
is
bring
why I'm
on you?
running errands. I could take this off while we talk, and he's like, no, well, no. Like, okay, then
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
make fun of my
Dummy.
mask. If
Yeah.
you're not willing to sit here and talk to me without it on my face, don't give me
Yeah,
crap.
no, not good. Yeah.
No.
But, yeah.
We I'm trying to think of what we watched the 2nd season of Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, good.
Right? That was
Thumbs
good.
up. It was very
Oh,
good.
cool.
Sean, of course, guessed who it was way in advance.
Oh, yeah,
I
well,
guessed a little bit in advance.
Well, my brain works weird.
we've been catching up on Psych because I've been, a lot of episodes I haven't seen, and
Nice.
unfortunately, I'm much like you, Sean. I think I bugged the hell out of Abria because I'm like, well, that's the killer.
Right.
It's like, what?
And I would like to think that I would be a lot like Sean Spencer if my eyes were better. Because I can figure out the stuff on TV. I'm one of those like hyper observant kind of people who like notices all the little things.
Yeah.
But my eyes suck, which is really really a drag because
Yeah.
I feel like I would be like that kind of level of observant if I could only see that far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy the show a lot. What I really need to do is call through that show and find some really cool instance of when someone is yelling at him and make it like my text alert or something. Because basically every episode somebody's yelling at Sean. I'm getting like
Yeah.
really upset. Corbin Burnson especially.
Yeah, like, Gus a lot of times.
Right.
But pretty funny.
But I I liked that show more than I thought I was going to like that show.
Oh, I know, totally.
I didn't like the first season, but the first season was a short season.
Yeah.
I liked the second through, what are there, 7 seasons?
7 or 8,
Don't
yeah.
know.
Whatever the last season was, I didn't like that one. And the movies that we've seen, we haven't seen all the movies yet. We're okay.
Yeah.
Right. We have them. We
But,
haven't seen the.
I mean, like some of the episodes of the TV shows were so good. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Twin Peaks episode,
Right.
Yeah.
amazing.
Twin Spires.
Yeah.
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 And you know, you can tell when they make fun of stuff, they love what they're making fun of. They
Oh,
do like an
totally.
Indiana Jones thing, and they do.
All
This
the
is
episodes
I
with
think,
Ali Sheedy in it,
Right.
super
Yeah.
good. Any episode with the Dread Pirate Roberts,
Carrie Ellis.
Carrie
Carrie
Ellis?
Elwes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
and they had almost everybody from the Breakfast Club in there at one point, didn't they? Judd Nelson.
Most likely. Yeah. I mean,
Molly Ringwald, I think, showed up. Ali Sheedy. They definitely had Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, he was a recurring character, yeah.
Maybe Emilio Estevez didn't make it. They had almost everybody.
oh well.
That was pretty awesome.
That's fun. And then we watched, what movie did we watch just last night?
Oh, well, we watched George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle.
Oh, I've seen that forever.
We hadn't either.
Young Brendan Fraser
Oh
is
my
so
goodness.
pretty.
And that movie is so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then,
Silly.
like, I thought, oh, you know, George of the Jungle, that'll be a good substitute for, like, Encino Man.
Yeah.
And it was probably about as dumb as Encino.
I don't know if I've
Yeah.
ever seen Encino Man.
Well,
don't
it
need to.
also has Ki Hai Kwan in it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
So
I
it
need
might
to.
be worth checking out,
Yeah.
I guess.
Plus, you know, Brendan Fraser's pretty.
Right.
So
Right.
he's on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think we really did anything else. I mean, I continued to work.
I know.
Talonthorn was saying that he went to work the whole time. I actually
But from home.
left. Yeah, I work from home, so I worked the whole time too, except last week on Friday when I was starting to feel sick, I knocked off early. And
Gotcha.
then about half an hour later, after I had signed out, maybe an hour, I had to
Yeah.
go get Sean's medicine. So,
Oh boy.
so it ended up being a wash.
Oh,
But
that's not
basically,
good.
like, we didn't do any of our other responsibilities and basically just watch TV.
Yeah.
The
that's
whole
pretty
time,
much been it.
and-
Yeah.
We ended up ordering food to be delivered, which we don't,
Yeah.
other
We
than
almost
pizza,
never
we
do.
don't.
I always go get
Yes.
it.
And there's a good reason.
Yeah.
Those meals cost.
Don't even.
They're expensive as hell, and yeah.
Yeah, I think we ordered from Panda Express,
Oh.
and that was more than $40.
Oh,
Oh god.
really?
And we ordered from Panera,
Jesus.
and it was more than $50.
Well, Panera's gone way up. So
Well, not only have they gone up, but they have a different menu if you order delivery, where the prices are all higher.
really?
Yeah.
What
And they
jerks.
tell you. But I mean, like, my soup was $7.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So we usually get a you
like
pick
a
two,
cup of soup.
and the you pick
Ah,
two
boy,
thing
boy.
lately is like, so you get like half a sandwich and you get soup or a salad or something, and
Yes.
and each of those things is almost $10, and so it's almost
Yeah.
$20 a person, where it used to be a lot less,
Well,
and the food got smaller.
The cup of soup is like $5.50 or something like that, and then when you get delivery, it's like $6.50. But then I decided it was only $1 more to get the bowl instead of the cup. So I was
Gotcha.
like, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound.
That's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah. So
I think the only thing I succeeded in doing was that putting that zipper on that damn shirt. That's about
that
it.
was really impressive, Jeff. You did a good job.
Yeah, that was cool. That's your Vince Clortho shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Keep it up. Zippers are hard, and your sewing is getting good.
Is that a full sweater or is that a dickie?
It's a turtleneck that I found that was close in color and looks wise, and so
But sleeves
I
or no
just-
sleeves is basically what it
Yeah.
boils down to. It has
Sleeves.
sleeves. Okay.
Yeah, but
Cool.
I still have more work to do on it. There's like I've got to do stuff to the cuffs on it so they go a little further down and whatnot. But yeah, so still a little ways to go on it before it's all done.
I gotta fix my broken chair.
Other than that, I've just been catching up on or going back to old shows and movies like the Smokey and the Bandit.
I think
movies
that's
and
what you
stuff.
have to do is watch comfort shows.
Yeah.
When you're sick. Since Colleen was in here and we were trying to not get her to catch anything, obviously we failed there. I had just bought a new computer system, which I had been setting up, and so I didn't quite get to finish doing it. And so, of course, we skipped the show last week, and I was going to get everything in a row for that show, and then I didn't, and then just sort of got back here at the beginning of the week and started, playing catch up on organizing Yuri's night and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And forgot what I had done and where I got stuck in the middle and where I had started. So getting the show on the air tonight was crazy because it was like and here's the thing that I watched in my insomnia last night. I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of Jedi Temple Challenges.
Oh yeah.
Which was the Ahmed Best game show. And I felt right before the show very much like I was doing that Jedi Temple Challenge thing. It's like, okay, take all the connectors and put them together in the right order, and then do this and then do that and try to make this work. And except, I'm not like a 10-year-old.
Yeah. I think wasn't
very far away from a 10-year-old.
Wasn't Gordon in that as the robot?
Yes, our buddy Gordon Tarpley played the protocol droid in that.
Yeah.
Although the droid had a separate actor playing the voice. It was a female voice. But our friend Gordon, who's a super talented prop maker, if you have ever seen, and this goes around every Christmas, I'm sure you've seen it, but there's a picture that's a meme that is the leg lamp, but it's Star Wars. It's an R2 dome on a C-3PO leg, and it's the leg lamp from Christmas Story, but Star Wars style. Gordon created that. That's his lamp, and I get it about 30 times every holiday season. Oh my God, Sean, look at this! Like, yeah, it's Gordon. We know him. And so Gordon's a super talented prop guy. He is a burgeoning Doug Jones. He was in a Super Bowl commercial as a zombie with Will Ferrell. He does makeup demonstrations at conventions because he's very thin. He's bald and he's patient. And so he will sit in the chair while they put all this makeup and stuff on him. So he apparently built that robot suit around him.
Huh.
He designed and built that droid, which was really cool. And then the secondary droid, there's an R5 unit, and the R5 unit was built and operated by Michael McMaster.
Oh, okay.
Who's a friend of ours too, and has become one of the resident droid teams for Lucasfilm. So if you watched
That's cool.
the second episode of Mandalorian, which I think we're talking about tonight. If you saw that and you saw the R5D4, who is the same droid from episode 4 in it, that Pelimado had and sent with Mandalorian. He built that, and there was a part in the episode where it did what we call a 2-3-2 conversion, where it goes from 2 legs standing to 3 legs driving to 2 legs standing again. It's very complicated to do. They've never shown a physical version of this on screen. And these guys made it happen. They're really super talented guys. So, yeah, pretty cool. So on that show, it was basically Ahmed Best, and then Gordon, and then Michael McMaster, and then all the little kids that they ran through the obstacle course. If you haven't seen it, it's not on Disney Plus. Strangely, you have to find it at StarWarsKids.com or on YouTube. There's 10 episodes, and it's fun because it's like what was the Nickelodeon show there was like a Nickelodeon show that they did that was sort of like a you can't do this on television kind of thing, which had like challenges
Like
and things in
the
it.
Hidden Temple or whatever.
And there was the other one that was the Hidden Temple, and the Hidden Temple. This really took a lot of cues from that, and the kids, and also a lot of cues from Galaxy's Edge. If you're a big Star Wars Galaxy's Edge fan, basically there are 3 teams. The teams have to collect lightsaber parts, and at each waypoint, one team gets knocked out until there's only one team left, and then they go to the temple. They have to do all these challenges within a certain time frame. They get challenged by the dark side of the Force to cheat, which you can do. You can skip a challenge by like using the dark side, and then your other challenges get harder, which is interesting. They really did a neat thing. And if you make it in time through all of the challenges, you get the kyber crystals for the lightsabers you built over the course of the event, and then you get to activate your lightsabers.
Oh,
And
cool.
and so Ahmed Best is wearing pretty much off the shelf Galaxy's Edge costumes, which are pretty funny. And it actually was pretty entertaining. I watched, they're 20 minutes long, and I think I watched like 5 of them out of the 10. And I thought they did a really good job. That was really cute.
Nice.
Wow. I haven't seen those in a while.
Kind of neat. I'd never seen them at all, and I thought now is the time.
Yeah,
Let us watch.
Alrighty.
it's not like a couple.
Right?
Should we move on to Star Wars history?
Yeah. Before we
Sure,
do,
why not?
I want to point out that if you're keeping track of the show numbering of our shows here, we are, and I'll go back to our intro screen over here. We are season 11, which puts us in the middle of our 11th year, and we are episode 38. And if you know anything about Star Wars, you know that 1138 is a very Star Wars kind of number. So
Yeah.
we made it
Yeah.
through no effort of our own. We made it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought, but I'm easy.
Yeah, totally.
All right, what kind of history you got for us, Jeff?
Oops. Where's my... Hold on a second.
It doesn't like us.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, my mouse was scrolling, then decided to let the screen scroll and not my mouse. I was like, hey! Okay. We have March 18th, 1931 is when John Mallow was born, costume designer. No hope, ESP.
John.
And a lot of other stuff, folks. A lot of other stuff.
Well, John.
Outland and Tarzan, jeez.
Yeah, he was a specialist in military uniforms.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is if you look in the books like The Art of Star Wars and stuff, you're used to seeing like Joe Johnston designing stuff and Ralph McQuarrie designing stuff and things like that. But the thing that's really interesting is that John Mallow can't really draw. And so he's got all these very cartoony little sketches of rebel generals and things like that. But he basically set the tone for episode 4, episode 5, Alien. He was a costume designer on Gandhi.
Yeah.
And then the Hornblower series, Horatio Hornblower, all the military uniforms and that. Basically wherever they need military uniforms.
Yeah.
He was
Totally.
there. And so, yeah, I like the stuff that he does. But it's so funny to see like really super detailed Ralph McQuarrie design and then like some wacko cartoon looking thing that's like, oh, that must be John Mallow. But he got it done. It was good enough.
Yeah, totally.
It's good enough.
Yeah. It worked.
Yeah.
March 21st, also 1931, is when Al Williamson was born.
Oh my God.
And, worked on the strips and the comic adaptations of Star Wars. And for what I like about a lot of his artwork, it's amazing artwork. It looks beautiful, and it does remind me a bit of like a newer artist that started like 30 years ago, Mark Schultz. He did like Cadillacs and dinosaurs and stuff. Very looks like Mark has a similar style.
Well, and the thing that's
But
really
just
interesting about Al Williamson art is that not only can he do hardware, he can also do people.
Oh yeah.
And he can do likenesses and stuff. And so you know what character you're looking at when you look at them. And, you know, so he'll do a perfect Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah.
Yay, great. You know, if you're a draftsman, you can pull that off. It's the portraits. It's the likenesses of the characters. He is, I think, my favorite Star Wars comic artist from the early days of Star Wars comics. And he did the newspaper strip, too.
Yeah.
And in fact, here, I'll tell you what, since we're also a visual medium. This may not work the first time, by the way, because...
he also worked on, like, Creepy Magazine and Weird Fantasy and, you know, Eerie and Marvel, other Marvel stuff. And, yeah, just pretty busy fella.
There we go.
So
here's a supreme zoom in of one of his panels. You can see his signature in the upper left. He's got like a tiny freeform. It's almost like a Hirschfeld Leia in there because she's so small. You see the dots on the screen. And so this was one of the newspaper strips that they did.
Yeah.
And it's from the movie. And just like, you know, here's Vader and Leia. And it's insane.
Yeah.
I absolutely, like, of all the artists that were working at that time, his stuff, that's how I wanted to draw. I think that's how I learned to draw Darth Vader, was from him. Because it was just, he got the hard stuff and the soft stuff, and that's not easy to do. Absolutely love his work.
Yeah. And he was the, I guess he helped along people like Bernie Wrightson and Michael Kaluta get into the profession as well. So, and worked with a lot of people. But
well, Bernie Wrightson, don't get me started on him.
Oh, Bernie's stuff is beautiful. So, you know.
I was talking about a fanboy. So we have Hazard Squadron that we formed as the pilot squadron outside of Rebel Legion that got folded into Rebel Legion. And it's huge now. We got like 100 people. But back in the days when we had like 15 people, maybe 20, a pilot came and joined us named Liz Wrightson. And knew her for years. And, you know, we'd hang out, we'd do events, we'd joke around, everything was really great. And then, like, I don't know what happened. Like, one day, the light bulb, we were at a convention, a light bulb went off over my head. And I said, Wrightson? So, like, Bernie Wrightson. And she's like, yeah, it's my husband. And I'm like, no way. And she drags me over to Bernie's booth and, you know, Sean Bernie. And I'm like, holy crap. Man. Didn't even know for years. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, he was amazing. He's one of the people who passed away way too early.
Yeah.
But, and Bernie does horror comics. He's so good.
Oh, yeah.
He was so good.
Amazing work. I mean, I have a comic book that was a Spider-Man comic that he did. It was a graphic novel.
Wow.
One. So it's like I can't think of it. What I think it's called Hooky, but it's all Bernie Wrightson, and it's just amazing.
I have a Bernie Wrightson pop-up book, and it's all horror pictures, and so it's basically pop-up Icker. It's like you open the book and like tentacles. It's really funny.
Yeah, he did the he was one of the concept artists for the original Ghostbusters. So
right, he was.
A lot of his works in the book.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Amazing.
Super cool. What else you got?
Yeah. Then I will go into history, which isn't really in the document, but I threw it onto here. So we have March 20th. This is regular history, not people's birthdays. March 20th, 1998 is when they did the last pickup shot for Episode 1 of Star Wars, in which Palpatine meets young Anakin Skywalker.
We will be watching your career with great interest.
Number 2 was March 22nd, 1976. Principal photography for A New Hope begins on location in Tunisia.
Tunisia. Cool.
They'll love the picture. They're standing there next to the gigantic sandcrawler.
Well, most of the sandcrawler at any rate. They pretty much stopped right above the treads.
Yes. And then March 23rd, 1976, the on-location shooting in Tunisia for New Hope is hit with its first winter rainstorm in 50 years.
Always, man. That's
Yeah.
always the way it is. When you least expect it, expect it.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
That's it for those.
Okay. So, Stephen Knight is working on a Star Wars film that Lindeloff is out of.
God, this is so complicated.
And there keep being more articles about it.
I know. And the things are flying so fast that like trying to keep track of all of this kind of stuff is crazy. Now, Damon Lindeloff is largely considered to be one of the best story guys in the business these days. He worked on Lost. I think that's the first time we ever heard of him, and the very complicated integrated storytelling that they were doing on Lost, which got a little lost, I think, towards the end of the thing. I think they could figure out what was going on.
I think they were winging it at the end of that
Right.
one.
But he was responsible for 119 episodes of Lost. He did the Watchmen miniseries, which a lot of people really liked, a show called The Leftovers. He produced the Tomorrowland movie, which I'm very fond of. He works with J.J. Abrams a lot, so Star Trek Into Darkness and some of the other ones, Star Trek movies. And as a writer, he's just been a busy guy. He even did a Phineas and Ferb. You know, he's just like wherever they could do it. He also, you know, not everybody's a hit. He also wrote Cowboys and Aliens.
Well, you know.
They can't all.
I mean, isn't Favreau working that too? I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah,
Can't all be winners.
That's my favorite thing. Where like Jon Favreau can do no wrong. I'm like, let me introduce you to this movie.
Whoops.
But anyway, he's a super talented guy, and everybody was very, very excited that he was going to work on a Star Wars movie, despite his connections with J.J. Abrams, which you know some people see as a hindrance because of the last few movies that came out. But
Hey, Rosie,
he's what'd she say?
I can't believe she's paying attention to the show because she's out celebrating
David's
actual
birthday.
'cause
Right.
Today's his actual birthday.
Happy birthday, David.
Yeah.
Woo!
Celebration won't be until we're not going to do a celebration really till Saturday for the whole family, so to speak. But yeah.
That's funny. So anyway, but regarding Lindelof, he's left. He left the project, and Justin Britt Gibson was also part of it. They were sort of a team.
Yeah.
And Stephen Knight is stepping in, and Stephen Knight did Peaky Blinders and things like that. And so I don't really know Stephen Knight and his work as much as I do Lindelof.
Yeah.
But he did write, and this is not the right one. I thought he wrote the movie Serenity, but it's a different Serenity with Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey.
Boo.
I'm like, oh well, that could be.
What?
Yeah. So, Peaky Blinders is really his big credit. But he's been around for a long time. His stuff goes all the way back to 1990. So, you know, it could be good, whatever. But I got to ask you guys this, and this is to people who are listening right now too, but to Colleen and to Jeff. Do you need more theatrical Star Wars movies right now? Like, is that thing something?
I don't need any theatrical movies right now.
You know, I don't mind a theatrical movie. For them to make one, sure. Make one that doesn't come out now. Comes out in a year or two.
Right.
and then keep it at that pace of like 3 years or whatever. Like
For
it
every
used to
couple
be.
years, yeah.
Yeah, instead of like every 6 months.
I'm really liking the TV shows.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that was kind of my point. Is
I
that
like the way that they're developed and they have a slow burn to them.
yeah, they found a stride where they can tell a story over like 8, 10, 12 episodes.
Yeah.
I like that. I think I really like that. I know some people are really chomping at the bit, going, "Just give us a big actiony, blockbuster kind of movie." But
Yeah, I mean, at least it's been a few years, since like, Rise of Skywalker, and it will be a few years before they put anything out. So I hope that's what they stick with. You know,
well, that's what Bob Iger said, is that there was not only did he say there was Star Wars overload, there's Marvel overload.
yeah,
I think there's total Marvel overload.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, too much of a good thing is too much.
I haven't even seen the last 2 Marvel movies in the theaters, and then
No.
come. Well, you haven't either.
I haven't either, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they come to Disney Plus, and I'm like, nah.
yeah,
So, which is sad because, like, that was one of the things early in the pandemic. We rewatched the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Oh.
Like 25
Start
movies
to
or
end.
whatever.
Yeah.
Damn.
So,
yeah. I mean, it does get a little much. I'm glad that they decided to cut back on a lot of that. So hopefully that'll fix the problem.
Well, and
that
what did
they're
we get?
having, like,
25
too much.
movies in 10 years for Marvel?
Something like that. Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
that's crazy. That's really nuts. And the fact that we're on phase 4 in 10 years is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Star Wars, I enjoyed the spectacle and the event of the sequel films. I had a good time. I went to the movie. I hung out with my
31.
friends. 31 movies now?
yeah.
And
There are 31 movies in the MCU.
right.
Okay.
So, I liked seeing Star Wars on a big screen. IMAX was great, perfect theater, perfect sound. But for me, it was about being there with my friends. It was like an event, and so the movies weren't amazing, but the company was good, basically. And and they got kind of weird. I'm like, why are we seeing? So the second one, everybody's like, oh yeah, or what's this subplot with horses on Canto Bight? That's really stupid. And then the third one doubles down with horses on a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Jesus.
come on. So I mean, it got kind of nuts. Or people got short shrift. Like today, and I didn't play anything for her birthday this morning, unfortunately. But today was Carrie Russell's birthday.
Oh, okay.
And I liked her character, what we got to see of it, like this tiny little sliver.
Getting hot in here.
Yeah.
So take off all your clothes.
She got it's Austin Land, which she was really great at.
Yeah.
You got to see her hang out with Babu Frick. They were like pals. And I want to know more about that.
Yeah, there was no point
Yeah.
to her being in it.
They kept introducing us to people and then running away from them.
Yeah,
And
it was annoying.
or characters that had been introduced and running away from them,
Yeah.
like Rose. Hello.
Well, they had to go put a magic knife, hold up a magic knife, somewhere.
Right, yes, exactly. Remember the Goonies? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Rebels never say die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I had fun, being with my friends and watching the thing.
Yeah.
And of course it all disintegrates once you think about it outside the movie theater. When you have time to catch your breath. But it has, spectacular moments like every ship in the galaxy showing up to fight a space battle against every Star Destroyer in the galaxy, of which there are something like 10,000.
But I also think that the TV shows have been really good in, and some of them I've liked more than others. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
They
Andor
were-
was amazing. So.
Andor was so good.
Yeah. Andor was great. I enjoyed Obi-Wan. And don't get me wrong, I am enjoying things like the Book of Boba Fett, but I knew what they were going into them. And it's like The Mandalorian. I know what they are going into. The Mandalorian is a comic book, and the Book of Boba Fett is even more a comic book.
Oh yeah.
And that the Book of Boba Fett was the fantasy project of Favreau and Filoni. Really says a lot about Star Wars, because everybody's like, oh, they're going to save Star Wars. I'm like, seriously, the Book of Boba Fett is the project they have always wanted to make. So if that's what you take as that, and you want that level of Star Wars, then yes, they're going to save Star Wars.
Yeah, and like, I liked, I really liked the for Marvel. I liked the Black Panther, the last Black Panther movie, and I liked Quantumania. But to be honest, the movie that I actually liked the most recently from Marvel was Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus.
Right, and that came into your house. Well, because it was
and that
different.
Was amazing.
Werewolf by Night
so
was
well,
really
so
good.
great.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
It was a different kind of thing.
For Marvel, my number one was WandaVision. Loved WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision was really good. I'm hearing that the second Shazam movie is really fun, and I have people on my Facebook page who swear it is better than the first movie, which I liked. So I'm really curious to see if that's true. And honestly, I just want to go see Helen Mirren chew scenery.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I
Always
mean,
worthwhile.
that just sounds fun to me.
And like and Lucy Liu's in it, I believe, too, right?
I think she's the other villain. Yeah,
Okay.
it's Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu is like the villains, and I'm like, I'm in for that.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Looking forward to it. Yes.
Let's see.
More.
So toxic Star Wars fans continue to be toxic in
Yeah.
toxicity that will surprise no one. However, Gina Carano is defending
Katie O'Brien.
Katie O'Brien. Yes, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't find her name.
Now let me stop you here so that you can fill me in on this. Does Katie O'Brien need defending, and why?
I don't know how Katie O'Brien feels about it. Haven't heard from her. However, she is being ripped up and down by people who are mad that they kicked a muscular transphobe off the show and then brought in a muscular lesbian. And so now people are... Someone made that comment on social media. Now people are insulting O'Brien, and it says here in this article on movieweb.com that it's gotten so ugly that Gina Carano felt herself compelled to weigh in, sharing the post on Twitter along with a statement condemning any toxicity that's been leveled against the sweetheart that she knows O'Brien to be. She says, I've been tagged in this a bunch, so I wanted to say one thing. Please do not engage in hateful comments towards the actress in this picture. I met her on season 2 of Mando, I believe, and she was a sweetheart. Send her nothing but love. The person who posted this is sad and got the ugly attention she desired, but that is not this actress's fault.
That was from Gina Carano.
Gina Carano.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and just to recap, Gina Carano played the character of Cara Dune. She didn't really abide by her Disney contract in terms of family-friendly content, and she kind of got herself booted from the show. And she also lost her shot at headlining her own series, which was called Rangers of the New Republic. And the person she's defending is Katie O'Brien, who started out as an unnamed comms officer working on behalf of Moff Gideon. And she has returned as character Elia Kane. They've given her a name. And she is going through the... well, I guess that's sort of a spoiler for the episodes we're going to cover later. But anyway, she's reappeared in the thing. And so
she's got a much larger role.
Yeah, she's got a bigger role.
Yeah.
And I believe also she was a stunt person, or she was also some sort of fighter. She has some sort of athletic background that people have been talking about that I haven't been able to pin down yet. But it's interesting that Carano is saying, trans people bad, and then she's like, lesbians good. It's like,
well, I don't.
It's always
think she's
interesting
actually,
to see where people
land.
land.
Technically saying that, she's saying stop being toxic towards people in the Star Wars films. I met this person and they're nice, and I had a lot of toxicity directed at me, and other people don't deserve that. She didn't point out anyone's sexuality or status at all, and she really seems to have taken the high road there.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, lay off," and kudos to her.
I think, to be fair,
not wading into it.
I think she's learned a really hard lesson lately, because she did a movie with Ben Shapiro that was supposed to be a right-wing centric action movie that was called Terror on the Prairie. It was released in theaters, and it did, and this is not a joke, this is not hyperbole, it did about $810 in business when it was released in theaters. Like, people didn't go. Now, I think that kind of taught her kind of a hard lesson. And the second thing that came out of that was that they specifically set out to make a non-woke action picture, and I use woke in quotes, and it was not enough for the audience that they thought was going to want to see it. And so there was a huge backlash against it from the right, who were their target people, and they didn't like it, and it didn't go far enough for them, and et cetera, and so forth. So I think she's learning that sort of you can't please everybody kind of thing. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. I mean, I liked her character, and I thought she was fine as an actress. I just didn't like how
she used her fame.
She was really unfeeling about other people and uncaring about other people, and like had other people, one, go to bat for her, and two, like approach her and say, look, you got to back down on this stuff. Like Pedro Pascal, I think his sister came out as trans, and he was like praising her and that kind of stuff, and Gina was like, ugh. And it's like, really, you just, be nice to people.
Side note, I believe that Katie was in Quantumania, playing one of the heroes that they meet in the
I heard that
Quantum
too.
Realm.
I think Sean mentioned it while we were watching it.
Yeah,
watching the show.
She's
I can't remember the name of the character, but yes.
she's been doing a lot, and I think I'm trying to figure out what her background was. She goes by Katie M. O'Brien.
Yeah.
And she was Gentora in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And she was in Z Nation. She's got like 25 credits under her belt.
Yeah.
She was in at least one episode of The Rookie, which is a show Colleen and I watch. Magnum PI, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Westworld. I mean,
I remember her in The Rookie.
She's been busy. Yeah, and I don't know what she played in the Rookie.
But I can picture her.
Right? And that's wacky. I think she was like a rookie who washed out or something.
Could be.
Yeah, that is my recollection, is that she had to make like a moral decision that ended up with her getting washed out.
Right, and it was kind of bad. But
yeah.
Anyway, I like her. She is a martial artist. She does do stunt stuff. And she came from Indianapolis to Hollywood to try to do, like, her first role was a walk-on on The Walking Dead.
So I'm gonna jump over the reviews, and we can do that right after the top of the hour.
Yeah, we'll do that later.
But and this is kind of a spoiler, kind of not. There was something in the last episode. That is it okay to say what it was? It's I don't feel like it's that big of a spoiler.
You can say whatever. It's a prop.
There was a prop called Yellow Travel Biscuits, and on StarWars.com, they provide a recipe for Yellow Travel Biscuits. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that these delicious looking cookies are not travel biscuits, because
Oh.
a travel biscuit would be basically hardtack.
It's hardtack, yeah, and they come in a
Yeah. variety
variety of flavors, and they're packaged in that kind of a way, and so there was a meme that goes around that says, "Join the empire, we have cookies," but
Yeah, I know.
but nobody ever shows up with the cookies. This is what they're trying to pass off as cookies.
Yeah. And this recipe, it looks like a delicious, it's like a lemon rose flavor.
Yeah.
And they look like they're very good, and I'm sure they are very good. And I
Ginger,
am
lemon, and rose
extremely
water.
doubtful that
Damn.
any military organization is going to use actual cookies as
Why do they
a
have
travel
to put ginger
biscuit.
in there?
Right. Well, and they look like shortbread. They're just pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And what surprised me with this recipe, though, is that they put them in a little plastic sack with a little label on it, and they put it in a box,
Yeah.
and whatever. Weren't the ones in the show they had like a design or were stamped or something on it? I'm surprised they didn't try to recreate that. I'd have
Yeah, I
to
don't
watch it
remember.
again, but I saw it twice. You think I would notice?
Yeah. And also, if this is the recipe for yellow travel biscuits, where are the
What are the red ones?
Red ones.
Yeah, I figure there's red, blue, and yellow.
Oh no.
So
Oh, there's blue.
I'm just guessing
Oh, okay.
that they would have 3 different varieties, but
And the blue ones are like fish flavored, probably.
let's give him to Grogu. He
man.
won't eat it. He hates everything.
So while I was looking at that,
Mm-hmm.
there's another article that was released today. No, that was released like 2 weeks ago. That is called. The headline of the article is "Enjoy Pog Soup, a meal for a Mandalorian."
Hog soup.
So what is Pog
Yeah.
Soup? Is that the soup that Grogu?
That was
eats?
there was bone broth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pog Soup is, it says the clan-based Mandalorians are bound by creed and code, and as a rite of passage, each foundling must drink Pog Soup. As we learned in The Mandalorian Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore.
Mm.
And then they are positing that this is the soup. It says, this creamy, fragrant soup is a sensory overload, seasoned with aromatic spices and blended fresh vegetables. Coconut milk adds a final creamy touch for this vegan and gluten-free
Can't get rid
meal.
of it.
And if Sean were a person who would eat soup, I would lovingly make Pog Soup for him.
Well, and see, I hear the name, and I just keep thinking of the little cardboard discs that people used to collect, and I'm like, who'd want to make soup out of that?
Hey, Sean,
Yeah.
can you boot somebody out of the chat, please?
Yeah, I see somebody wants to
Okay.
Yeah, the
Advertise to
promote
us.
our.
Yeah, that's on Twitch, in case everybody else is
Yeah,
wondering.
we have once in a while bots pop in there and they, oh look, I'm a real person. No, you're not. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this.
So basically, this soup is it's a creamy vegetable puree,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's a creamy
Anybody know
vegetable
where the
puree.
Fuse House is at?
I went over to Twitch.
Gotcha.
That's what that.
Oh, that's what that was.
That's what that sound was. Yeah.
And maybe I'll make this for myself. What I
bloody
mean,
heck.
are you guys interested in a review of creamy Pog soup?
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
I have to save this. And then as soon as Sean is done trying to boot the person who has invaded our space on Twitch,
Seriously.
he'll grab the top of the hour.
I will
There's
indeed.
a-
I just have to fight my way through to
Yeah, there's
get to our actual channel.
yeah.
To get to our
I
actual.
I think I was able to do this one point, but something happened and now I can't boot them. So, or I would have done it.
Rude.
All I have is stuff to click to reply or pin the message. I'm like, that's not helpful,
Yeah, that's what I'm getting too.
and it's not supposed to be doing that.
Social media is not loving me these days, which is pretty pretty terrible. Mod view. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's try that.
And then
Maybe that'll
there's
fix it.
mod. And then
There you
there's
go.
mod.
Try that.
And then
Maybe that'll
there's
fix it.
I just hate that every time I go into the thing,
Yeah.
it
Oh.
what's
I'm looking at past recipes on StarWars.com, and on Valentine's Day they said, "Tell your partner I know" with Carbonite Crunch.
Carbonite Crunch.
Yep.
Ah. Let me see if it does. Do I have that?
all right. I banned the person. I think their
Oh, there you go.
I think their
Yeah,
thing
it'll
is
X the
gone.
thing out.
Good job, Sean.
All right. Just in time for me to remind you that if you're listening to us on the radio, you are doing so on sci-fi.radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. They're there 24/7 playing nifty nerd stuff.
Yeah.
And we are one of many programs that airs over there. So just type in sci-fi.radio into your address bar and poof, instant geek radio. If you are watching us somewhere, you could be doing it on the sci-fi.radio Facebook page or DB94 Facebook page. Probably not mine. I don't think it's working on mine.
Yeah.
Facebook's mad at me right now because I posted parody and they didn't like the parody. They did, however, allow a post to go on all of my pages that features some woman's butt that links to some sex thing. And I reported that.
Oh,
and they're
hey,
like,
there you go.
That
Boy.
fits our community guidelines. I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
that's
Okay,
expensive.
right on. That's good. I'm glad that my Yoda page that little kids belong to can get, sexy
Yay.
butt links. So Facebook's not letting me do it. Maybe I think I've got another 30 days or something because I'm in their Facebook jail. But that
Joy.
said, you can also see us on YouTube. You can see us on Twitch.
Yep.
There's a bunch of other options. And we've got all you guys over on the chat. And we're glad to see all of you guys. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
Yeah, Solo Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And this is Docking Bay 94. Thanks for being here after us being away last week because COVID.
Do
all
we
got
want to
it.
go ahead and review those episodes of The Mandalorian?
Yeah, I think we should. We have 2 episodes. There are 4 episodes out right now.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about episode 2 and 3, which we missed 2 last week, and I think episode 4 just came out. So I'm double checking on that just to make sure that we're all good. I think that the Mandalorian's getting pretty decent. So I'll tell you what. We will talk about these 2 episodes, and we will come back at 8:15. I think that should be enough time to discuss these 2 episodes. The Mines of Mandalore, which is Chapter 18. The Convert, which is Chapter 19. The one from this week that we are not talking about is called The Foundling. We will talk about that next week. So just in case you haven't caught up with this week, we'll make sure that we don't spoil stuff for you. But if you saw episode 2 and 3 of this season, Chapter 18 and 19, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yay.
I don't. I'm trying to remember what we for the Mandalorian and Grogu. We were there at the cave, and he said he was going to go off, or was that in the first episode?
No. So in the very first episode, Mandalorian was trying to figure out how he could get in the good graces of his cult. The only way to do that was to go to the mines of Mandalore and to bathe in the living waters. He decided to do that. He wanted droid assistance, and he tried to get a droid in that he trusted, who was IG-11, and that didn't work out very well. And so he ended up going back to Pelimato, who hooked him up with R5D4, our hero droid from Star Wars Episode 4, who blew himself up so R2D2 could be with C-3PO and start all the adventures and things like that. So they went to the mines of Mandalore, basically popped into see, what's her name? Blanking on her name.
The
Starbucks.
Bo-Katan.
Oh,
Bo-Katan,
yeah.
Who was like, knock yourself out. Everything's crappy over there. We don't care. And so it was one of those things where, you know, he wanted to get back in the good graces of his clan, but she really wasn't super helpful to come do it, and just went, you know, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
So they went to the mines, ran into a whole bunch of creatures. He got captured. The Mando got captured by a creature. Grogu had to go back and get Bo-Katan and drag her back there, and she had to save his butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then while she was there,
saving his butt.
After
so
saving his butt.
Yeah,
pretty much.
She saved his butt, and then she's like, "Fine, I'll take you down to the waters." She takes him to the waters. He goes in. He falls off a cliff that you couldn't see because it was underwater. She jumps in to save him and pulls him out. And in the meantime, she sees a
Mythosaur.
mythosaur. I keep wanting to call it a crate dragon.
Right.
Yeah, but you saw what she saved his butt with, though, right? In the beginning, before the water part, she picked up the black saber.
The dark saber,
the dark saber, and saved him.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which she knows how to use, but...
well, I mean, it's really, honestly, it's probably going to end up going back to her because she's the one who can really use it. Yeah. I don't feel like the Mandalorian really has as much of a use for it as she does.
And I don't think he really cares. So the thing about Bo-Katan, she has a really complicated past where she became a terrorist for a while. She sided with Darth Maul. If you go through like the Clone Wars and stuff and you look at her whole path, she essentially took a bunch of action that got her people sort of booted from their lands. She tried to lead everybody with the Darksaber, kind of failed. She lost the Darksaber in a way we don't know how, and Moff Gideon ended up with it. We still don't know how that happened. And she also got her sister killed. Her sister was Obi-Wan's girlfriend, Satine, and got her killed, not intentionally, but, you know, trying to dethrone her own sister, ended up getting her killed. She's got baggage, lots and lots and lots of baggage. And so for her to be sitting in her home, just kind of giving everybody the middle finger and not caring about anything, it's because she's basically been through the ringer. She just doesn't care anymore. And she didn't get the Darksaber at the end of Mandalorian when you know, the fight with Moff Gideon happened. She had tried to get it, and she was really ticked off that she didn't end up with it. And so she feels pretty disenfranchised at this point.
Yeah.
But this thing, where she went into the water and she saw an actual living mythosaur, which we have never seen before in Star Wars at all, shook her.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to kind of see her kind of shaken by that.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, that's this episode.
Well, you can talk about this episode. That's okay.
No, this week's episode.
Not
in
you.
my head. I was about to say something, and I'm like, no, wait.
I know, me too. Because there's like a really great moment that plays into that, and they're like, no, it's this week.
Yeah,
can't talk about it.
This was them going back to where her her, I guess, throne is. I guess you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
her
that's
her
when the
home.
TIE fighter, the TIE fighters show up and all that madness.
Right. We saw an amazing dogfight where not only does Bo fight them off in her ship with Mando as the tail gunner, they get attacked by something like 10 TIE fighters or something. It's pretty serious. And then Mando recovers the N1, which was on her landing pad, and then comes in and helps her take care of the rest of the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose. We thought that was bad.
Totally. Jeez.
The TIE fighters come and they basically blow up her home.
Yeah.
And so they raise her castle. It's a big drag. So.
Yeah, so it got a little bit more exciting. I felt like the first episode, although Sean keeps telling me that it's because they needed to catch everybody up to speed. I thought the first episode was kind of boring.
Yeah, the first episode reintroduced everybody, told us what they were up to, and didn't cover any real new ground.
Yeah.
And that's always frustrating.
Point. Yeah.
So now it's starting to get more exciting and more interesting, and things are getting more intricate. So I am more interested in seeing the episodes.
Right.
The first couple of episodes, I was like, yeah, whatever. When I'm not doing something better.
And so this episode 19 2 weeks ago, once we got past all of this dogfight stuff, took a serious left turn. Where we basically ended up with, as I understand it, an episode that was written for Rangers of the New Republic that was dropped right in the middle of all of this Mando Bo-Katan stuff.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so that was really strange. And we were talking about Elia Kane, what was her name? The
Elizabeth something?
The actor.
What?
We were talking about Katie O'Brien.
Oh, Katie, yeah.
And so
Elizabeth
Katie O'Brien's character, Elia Kane is her name. She comes in, and she is now in the sort of recovery program, the retraining program for Imperial officers, who basically it's like, okay, you were part of the Empire, but now we're going to make you part of the New Republic. We'll give you purpose. We'll do whatever. And it's a little weird, too, and culty, where everybody's just got a number, which is strange. And the thing that really kind of shakes it up is that Dr. Pershing shows up again. And so Dr. Pershing was the guy who was doing all the cloning work on Grogu. And
for beginning.
Right, the guy with glasses is probably the best way to describe him. And so he shows up. He gives a lecture to the New Republic people going, I am so proud to be part of this, which is one of those weird sort of press the flesh, look, our program is working kind of things that takes place in the opera hall that Anakin and Sidious were in when Sidious was telling them about, Darth Plagueis and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so it was weird to see that again. And then it was weird to watch him go through this retraining program and stuff. And she convinces him to continue his work, and they go to steal equipment so that he can continue the work, and she set him up. And so he comes out of this Star Destroyer that's being dismantled with the gear that he needs to continue his cloning work. She takes the gear, and he gets arrested by New Republic soldiers, and then he gets his brain wiped. And then in the midst of the brain wiping, she fries him.
Yeah, he was supposed to get a mild,
a light reprogramming.
Yeah,
if there's such a thing.
She came in and turned
that
the
was
switch
last
to
week.
11.
Yeah, and
that was the one with the cookies.
Yes, that was the one with the cookies, but that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, so we didn't give anything away with the cookies.
No.
Okay.
Unless someone hadn't seen it, but.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing about it was just like it's so crazy, and the story was so Andor.
Gotcha.
It was, and it gave us
it was weird.
It gave us a really great look at the Empire and Coruscant and what the New Republic was doing and how convoluted and complicated things are.
Yeah.
But what the hell was her motivation? What was she doing? Who is she working for? Are we going to find out more about that?
That'd be embarrassing if we never do.
Right? If it was just a one-off, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, remember that loose end of Pershing? Yeah, he's done.
I wonder if it has to do with Snoke, is the theories are bouncing around.
Snoke?
That
I don't know.
it connects to the sequel trilogy.
I don't know. I feel like it's probably leaning more towards, they seem to hint that like they were going to get to Thrawn and a bunch of other things, and so we'll have to see
eventually, yeah.
if it leads into it, or it could go nowhere. It could
All
just
right.
be a one-off, and they like
It's
the story.
8:15.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for those last two episodes. I enjoyed them, episode 18
Yeah.
and 19, but episode 19 was a side quest. It was very different. I like it for all the same reasons I liked Andor.
Yep.
But as far as a Mandalorian episode goes, it was kind of a weak Mandalorian episode. Because there wasn't enough Mando in it. But it starts with a good dogfight and stuff, so it's worth it.
While we've been
Good
talking about this, I've been sort of paging through looking at the photos of the recipes on the site,
The Star Wars ones?
StarWars.com. And there's some great ones here. I'm like, how have I not been seeing these right along? I should have been making all of these. They're super fun. But some of them are also kind of creepy. And one of them is, the headline of it is, "Say hello there to these Obi-Wan Kenobi cupcakes for Star Wars Day." And
What makes them Obi-Wan Kenobi cupcakes?
they're his head.
Oh, there you go.
But the problem is, when they made them, the cupcake frosting is like off-white, and then the beard and mustache are sort of very light tan.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually look kind of like the same color. So they look like they're a skull instead of looking like a man with a beard. It's really funny.
Huh. Oh, here they are. I just found them. And yeah, well, because the way the beard is done, it looks like teeth.
It does.
It looks like shark teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those are cupcakes? They're really flat.
Awesome.
They're cupcakes.
I think it's just the
I think
maybe
it's
the angle.
the picture. And I think that if you used a different color of frosting than they did,
Yes.
you might get a better result.
That would be, or you did a different style of beard. Like if you look at the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan's beard is basically made out of strips on his face in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have easily done that, and it would have looked just fine.
It's interesting. The cupcake is like a cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla flavor.
Right.
I think I just found that one. What you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll show it since we're talking about it. Let me.
Doesn't it look like a skull, though, Jeff?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, if I'm looking at the same one, it kind of looks like
Is
he's more.
this
he's more
the right
biblical
one,
cartoon character.
Colleen?
Yeah, that's it.
He's like he looks like King Gilgamesh or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway, there's a bunch of these recipes that I want to try now because they're great. Oh my gosh. There's a Dianoga dish,
Yeah.
and it's basically pasta with a meatball.
Dianoga dish.
It's. Are you on the StarWars.com
This is
recipes?
awesome.
Yeah, I am.
So go back to the main page
Okay.
and scroll down about like 3 rows from where you were. A
Okay.
little bit farther.
I see.
Dianoga,
I see
snake,
Wookiees.
da, da, da. Yo, Dab, I see it. Cook up this Dianoga dish for a monstrous meal.
Yeah.
Dianoga dish.
Keep going.
It's next to the tiki cups and
I
Mando
see.
and Grogu.
Oh my God! All right, there it is.
Isn't that great?
Wow. Please tell me the thing in the middle is not like a green olive, though.
It is a green olive.
Oh, it's so gross.
That's funny.
Like, I love black olives. Green olives are
Yeah.
just disgusting.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of disturbing stuff in these things. I like the little sort of, what is it, a tuca? What's the little doll? They're calling it Lula donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tuca doll.
Yeah. The Tuca doll.
Yeah, and that's kind of cute. Although a lot of these things look like they're an awful lot of work to make.
Oh, a ton.
It's like
I mean, like even the soup that the pog soup, it requires you to have a kitchen torch.
Whoa.
blue milk
Wow.
pudding. That sounds
Oh, that's
fun.
cool. I see that.
And they had the cereal bars, and I want to know where you're supposed to get the blue puffed cereal.
Let me see.
Pretty much any market. I think you just pick
Oh, here we go.
a cereal that has blue puff thing.
Yeah.
They have Gorg cupcakes,
What's a
lightsaber
Gorg?
waffles.
What's a gorg?
A Gorg is like a
Oh,
frog
there,
thing.
I see.
That's interesting. They have a lot of recipes up here.
They do.
Kind of impressed.
Yeah.
Max Rebo donuts. And porg puffs. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. First order pizza. I don't know.
So I've seen the lightsaber waffles. I've seen those on a lot of like web pages and stuff.
Right.
But it seems like they're getting more sophisticated the farther you go. Like they got a new chef or something.
Oh, I don't know. Interesting.
I'll have to see what will fall into my ability to create. and
Okay,
not
I made
look
it back.
Completely ridiculous.
Woo!
People got home and the dogs decided that, boy, right now is a good time to tell the neighbors that people are home.
Right.
That's pretty funny.
Hairy pains in the butt.
All right. So moving along to
Woo!
theme parks.
Woo!
Oh, theme parks. We got theme
Toontown
parks.
has officially reopened.
Yeah, I hear that the crowds are crazy.
Well, I'm glad I'm missing that then.
Well, and I saw
Yeah.
somebody kind of whining about the stroller situation over there.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was
Jeez.
apparently someone who like doesn't have any kids, and they're like, oh, strollers are everywhere in Toontown, and it's just terrible. And it's like,
Teach your kids to walk.
Toontown
Blah,
is
blah,
for
blah.
kids.
what part of
so-
Toontown doesn't say this is for children?
Yeah.
I know. Jeez.
Wacky. So, Sean mentioned that I did get to ride on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last Tuesday, when we didn't know that Sean was sick,
Oh.
we went to dinner with my brother who was in town so that he and his wife could go to Disneyland the next couple of days.
Right.
We met them for dinner outside the park, and then afterwards we swung into the park specifically to try and get on the ride.
And our timing was pretty good.
Yeah, it was raining, and the fireworks were just starting when we arrived.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we basically walked right onto the
And
ride.
we actually thought that maybe Toontown was closed,
Yeah.
but because it was raining, when they're doing fireworks at Disneyland, they close Toontown, and it's closed for about an hour and a half. And because it was raining and they weren't shooting off fireworks, we walked right into Toontown,
Yeah.
which was great. And then right onto the ride, there was no line.
Yeah.
Cool.
In the ride.
And I'd have to say that it's a fun dark ride, but not my favorite one that I've ever been on.
Technologically speaking, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The some of the stuff that they've done is really great. But there's also a couple of spots where I think they really fell down on it.
Oh, boy.
And it's mostly with their character animation.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
there's a really basic rule of like Mickey and Minnie where you're sort of not supposed to put both eyes on the side of their head. kind
Yeah.
of a deal.
It was creepy.
And they did that. So they'd have like a physical ball with a nose sticking out of it, and then the animation on the face didn't really match the perspective it was
Yeah.
supposed to have.
That's the latest animation they do nowadays for them, which is not my preference.
But even when you saw it in the actual 2D animated cartoon, it looked better than the actual 3D thing they were trying to pull off, because having a side profile with Mickey's nose sticking out the side and then having both eyes on one side of his head, super not cool.
Yeah.
It's what animators like to call off model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was not.
Walt also didn't like, if I guess if you see later on in the early things you could see it because it was the very early stuff of Mickey Mouse and stuff, but is that he didn't want to have characters have like little rubber band arms, so he wanted them to have joints and such, like arms. And I don't know if that's how sometimes they didn't really achieve that with the new stuff. It looks very rubbery. That's another no.
Yeah, I
Walt
think
anyway, but-
I think very early Mickey Mouse, like Steamboat Willie, I think he had kind of rubber band arms.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, and Walt didn't like it, so he switched it.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of the problems, like I'm gonna show you a picture here that sort of illustrates what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For the ride. And this actually works pretty well because I think they are like in the right frame of mind. Right point of view. And so you can kind of see that the eyes are sort of on one side of the nose, but like Minnie looks kind of okay and things like that.
Yeah.
But as you rotate around these characters in 3D, that doesn't always work.
Their noses just look super weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. And so, are there any more pictures here? No, that's the only picture. And but the rest of the ride is actually really neat, where basically they do so much with just projections that it's pretty cool. And the ride vehicles, which are trackless, are pretty amazing because it's got a little bit of Indiana Jones going on. It's got a little bit of Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters, where the cars dance and stuff. It's basically a tech demo for all the really good technology Disney's throwing at rides right now. And from that side, I think the only thing really missing from it that wasn't really represented in there were the A1000 animatronics. We didn't really see like a really good animatronic figure in there that is just kind of because so much of it was relying on projection.
I do have to say though that if I waited over an hour for this ride, I think I would have been
You'd be
kinda pissed.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So this is, if for Rise of the Resistance, if you wait over an hour, it's worth it.
Yeah.
For this one, no.
Yeah.
But it was fun enough.
Haven't seen it.
But it almost falls into the small world category for me.
The queue is fun. Dawn
Yeah.
points out the queue is fun. And listener Mela did a lot of those costumes. in
She
that
did,
queue.
and they look
yeah,
great. We still have yet to actually have walked through certain parts of the line because the line has been short enough that we haven't had to do like sort of roundabout. So there's a bunch of costumes that Mela made that we haven't even been near.
You can see
bummer.
them,
You can see them. You just have.
but you're not up close.
We could have gone in there if we wanted to, but there's a really fine line between like waiting in a really long line and like going in to check stuff out and telling people to pass you, because people will stand behind you and go, oh, we don't want to cut. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, cut. We're looking at something else. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And there, I do want to kind of do that because they have like Disco Mickey and some other stuff on display and things that you
it's
just can't get to.
It was like when we stepped out of the line just so we could see all the stuff for the Twilight Zone.
Right. Well, we went into Tower of Terror, and that's all we did. We only saw the line. I think. I don't think we went on the ride.
Yeah, because we're good.
They were going to get rid of it. They were
Yeah.
gonna put Guardians of the Galaxy in, and we're like, well, let's do one last photo survey of the line, which was
Totally.
super cool.
All right, and in the houses where the character photos are in Toontown, which is a big part of Toontown.
Mickey and Minnie's place.
Yeah, they've extended it to have Pete to meet and greet visitors as well.
Jeez.
I don't know if he's in a house or if he's just like out. Isn't Pete a bad guy?
He is.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the whole point, though, is that Toontown didn't have a bad guy before
Yeah.
they introduced him, and there are people who prefer the bad guys.
Looks like he's just outside from the photos anyway. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of does look like
I mean,
that.
I think they just sort of shoved him in a quarter.
Yeah. That's why I think they should have like Doctor Doom meet people at the opening of Avengers Campus, something like that.
Right.
Well, but you can get. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's not what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Gadget's Go Coaster is still there, except now I think it's
Weird.
called Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster.
Okay.
But
I thought they would have ripped it out.
it's still there. Now everybody
that
likes
ride.
that ride.
Yeah. Weird.
It's huge.
Is Donald's boat still there and stuff like that?
Donald's boat is still there. The Goofy area is now called Goofy's How to Play Yard.
Oh,
So
okey-dokey.
they're playing off of the Goofy How to cartoons,
Yeah.
which is cool. And so they've got a lot of interactive stuff like they have in Florida at the Haunted Mansion, where you can play with all the stuff in the line. It's
that's
it's
cool.
that kind of thing. Different contraptions and things that you can do. There's a big fountain there
There are
with
slides.
Mickey and Minnie. There's some really disgusting food. There's a Daisy's dressed up dog, and it's like a gigantic freaking hot dog with really gross stuff on it. I'm not
Oh.
going to show you a picture because it's turning my stomach like right now. But one of the complaints was that they, across from the Roger Rabbit cartoon spin, which I will assume is open again,
Yeah.
they put a big grassy area in which you are encouraged to have a picnic, a la the perfect picnic theme of the Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
And the problem is it's been filling up with strollers. And,
Oh,
Okay.
they've been putting strollers on the grass?
Yeah, and I don't
Okay,
think
that doesn't sound right.
I don't think that that's what Disney people are doing. I think that that is what guests are doing.
That's too
Yeah.
bad.
So it's yeah.
Because that area should be for kids to play on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how many people take like their 2-year-old to Disneyland and then they're like, this kid needs to run somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where they're supposed to do it.
So I think
Run, be free.
that park is called Centennial Park, which has the Mickey and Minnie fountain in
Yeah.
it, and there's a tree that you can mess around with and roots to crawl over and under and that kind of thing.
Cool.
Donald's Duck Pond, which is Donald's boat and an area for you to get wet.
Okay.
And then the How to Play Yard, which
Good.
features lots of gadgets that you can goof off with.
It looks like they also added a bunch of stuff to Mickey's and Minnie's houses. To the little house tour that you go on.
That could be. And didn't
Yeah.
like one of the houses was like Jessica's house or something, or
No.
Huh?
no?
No,
No.
not that I know.
There was one, maybe it's just an area in there that had a bunch of like lingerie thing. There was a bunch of Jessica stuff in one of the houses. Maybe that was Minnie's, and she was just reading her lingerie
Could be.
catalog. But yeah, I don't know about Pete. I mean, I guess that there's a villain, but whatever.
Right.
But boy, there's a lot of fake grass. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sad that they got rid of the trolley.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, because I liked the trolley, and I
Yeah,
think they
totally.
decided it was just too much trouble. When Colleen and I went in the Runaway Railway, they did have the store open, which was not open in any of the times that I went through there.
Okay.
And so in connection with that, it's sort of like a train store. It's called Imagine Ears, or Engine Ears or something like that. And, it's Engineer Souvenirs. And so it's a lot of train stuff, as you would expect from the ride. And then they have like remote control trains, and they have remote control Mickey and Minnie car from the ride, and things like that. And lots of shirts and things like that. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So sorry, my light over here was flickering. It startled me.
How
Hyperspace Mountain will be back May 1st through June 5th. That's the overlay, the Star Wars overlay on Space Mountain. So get that while the getting's good, or don't if you're me. There is a soft opening for Tron Lightcycles from March 20th to April 2nd for all Walt Disney World guests. So how is it a soft opening if it's for everybody and they've announced it?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, they haven't done a really big celebration-y thing, I guess.
Maybe it's because the official opening was supposed to be April 3rd, and they're doing it early, and so they're just calling it a soft opening.
Guess we'll need to use the My Disney Experience app to enter this attraction. The standby queue will not be available, blah, blah, blah. So
they're going straight to having to pay to get in?
Well, no. I mean, it's I not pay, but I think it's like the
It's like the virtual queue.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was. They were saying it's not like the virtual queue.
So they have one at 7 a.m. and one at 1 p.m.
Okay.
And so it's like the other rides that they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's limited entry basically, as opposed to. That's how they softened it up.
Starting April 5th, an additional opportunity to request to join the virtual queue will be available at 6 p.m. on select dates. So they'll do it like 3 times a day. So it'll be kind of interesting. The opening that they did do, which was not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, they brought Bruce Boxleitner in. He brought his adult boys, which was great.
Yeah.
Cindy Morgan, who was Yori in the original Tron movie, she went. Although I haven't seen her post anything. She was excited to go, and I wonder what happened with her. Hopefully she got to meet up with Bruce and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. Hope so.
I have her on as a Facebook friend.
Yeah.
And she posted the stuff for Bruce, who was, he took pictures from LAX with his sons, and he's like, "See you soon," kind of a deal, which was great. And he loved it. And then basically Disney also sent a whole bunch of their current sitcom stars and things on the ride.
Oh, of course.
And the one that I saw was Sean Giambroni, who is like, what, 22 now? He's
Something
Adam
like that,
on the Goldbergs. And so
Yeah.
he's like 21, 22. And of course, he loved it. It was like absolutely his favorite thing ever. And he's such a goober. He gets off the ride, and he's like very flummoxed, and he's like, good job, Disney. He like doesn't really know what to say, because I think he genuinely enjoyed it, but I think it kind of threw him, which was very cute.
Oh, I guess it says that she did go, but I can't find pictures either.
Right, and that's the thing that's kind of weird, because I thought,
Who is it that you're looking to see if they went?
Cindy
Morgan.
Morgan.
Oh, okay.
But she said she went and stuff, but I don't know if she posted any photos anywhere.
Yeah, I didn't
At least
see
not on
anything.
Facebook.
I haven't. I looked at her Facebook, and she hasn't posted anything since the Bruce Boxleitner stuff, which was kind of weird. So I hope, she was so excited to go and to get the invite. I hope everything kind of worked out for her.
Yeah.
But
Any luck.
one of the things I'm really excited about, and I'm sure I shouldn't be, is there is so much cool swag coming out. They're basically, it sounds like, and this is on our list too, I think it's the next thing on our list, is Stitch's Great Escape which used to be the Circle Vision theaters, or it was Mission to the Moon,
Yeah.
and Mission to Mars, and then it was the Extraterrestrial Encounter, and then
Yeah.
it became Stitch's Great Escape, and it sounds like they're taking part or all of that out to be
okay.
Tron-related stuff.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where I've seen it both ways. The article that we're linked to is Inside the Magic, which
Yeah.
is terribly sensationalist, and they're like, "Are they kicking Stitch out of the park?"
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
Which is like, seriously, guys? And it annoys me because these guys have become less and less of a reliable source
Yeah.
as time goes on. So it sounds like it's kind of cutting into the meet and greet area, and
Yeah.
they're saying that it's also kind of cutting into the ride itself to do it. But anyway, they've got all sorts of really neat stuff that
Yeah.
looks really fun, light up frisbees and backpacks,
Yeah.
and like neat stuff like that. So
And I found an article from Yahoo News that does have like 2 pictures of Bruce and Cindy.
Oh, good.
At the thing. So I put it in the link in the chat on Twitch and in our Docking Bay 94 Facebook message.
okay. Oh, see, there we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like the biggest sweetheart, and I really wanted her to have a really great time at this because she was so excited to go. And as the girl in the gang, basically, she gets overlooked a lot, which really kind of sucks.
Pardon me. So glad she's back.
Okay, that's
Glad
fun.
she got there.
Yeah. All right. Good. I feel
Yay.
better now, because
Ouch.
she's been nothing but super cool to Tron fans, and
Yeah.
I mean, heck, she's got me as a friend on Facebook. It must be
Yeah, me too.
like, why? I don't know. She's
Must
just
be a
that
bunch of weirdos.
She's that level of cool. Yeah.
All right,
she
so
was
moving
super
on
chick.
to trailers. Coming to Netflix on April 7th is Chupa,
Yes.
which is a story about the mean Christian Slater, who's the detective. not
He is
detective,
mean.
The
Man.
sheriff or something. In a small town versus the kids who have adopted a cute little chupacabra puppy.
Yeah.
Chupacabra
yeah,
puppy.
Right.
Like
That's
you
cute.
like you do.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
It actually kind of reminded me of the thing in Extraterrestrial Encounter that got turned inside out.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I'm going to show you a quick picture here of Christian Slater
dear.
as Robert Muldoon from Jurassic Park. He's like going on an outback walkabout.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. We'll have to watch it so that we can make fun of Christian Slater
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait,
in a very loving way.
like you do.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that they're trying to put some kind of cute spin on a chupacabra.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, it's got little wings and it's furry and it's fun. I
Yeah.
thought a chupacabra was like a devil goat or something.
I feel like
Yeah, like
there's
the
going to
goat suck-
be
bloodsucker?
sort of a Gremlins component to this.
Right, because it doesn't really look like.
I feel like it's going to grow up into something worse.
Right.
But maybe that's just the cynic in me.
I don't know. Or there's going to be an evil one. This is
Yeah.
on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
This trailer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it looks like fun.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
on
cute.
Netflix, so it's no skin off your nose really to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Put it on in the background while you're making dinner.
Or knitting, which is my latest obsession.
Knitting.
Sean, you want to take the rest in peace section?
I do. We lost some really interesting and very talented people this week. Maybe most notably, Lance Reddick passed away. He died at the age of 60. He was in The Wire. He was in John Wick. He was in Fringe, Bosch. Oh my gosh. And so he was like, sort of, he filled this kind of like Patrick Stewart kind of role where everything he did had such gravity. He was so serious. with everything, and he, like, every time he showed up, I don't even really remember seeing him do anything comedic at all. And it's not like he didn't have a sense of humor. You watch an interview with him, and he's got a great sense of humor, and everything's like really cool. But he just had this gravity to everything. And you know, he did do sitcoms. He did like Young Sheldon and a bunch of things like that. He was a voice of a character in DuckTales. But, you know, all this other stuff that he did, and I don't think he ever had like a giant role beyond Fringe. He did like 90 episodes of Fringe. And everything else was just about a guest shot. I mean, he was in Lost. I guess The Wire. He did a lot of stuff in The Wire. But just 60 seems too young. And for
60 is too young.
For the part he played in the pantheon of character actors in Hollywood, I don't know who's going to fill his shoes. It's really kind of crazy. We lost Fito Olivares. He's a Tejano musician. He died at the age of 75 from cancer, unfortunately. He passed away about last Friday. And he'd been playing music since the 1960s and was pretty huge in the Tejano scene. Paul Grant passed away at the age of 56. Paul Grant was one of us. He was a total nerd. He was a goof off, and he was probably best known for being a character actor in makeup where diminutive actors were needed. He was an Ewok in Return of the Jedi. He was in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone playing a goblin. And he collapsed outside of a London train station somewhat awkwardly. He was at King's Cross Station, where, of course, you caught the Hogwarts Express to go to Hogwarts at platform 9 3/4. So kind of strange. He had three kids, and an absolutely terrific history of being in Labyrinth and Legend and Willow, and did all sorts of stunts and things. And he's our age. He was one of us. It was a real bummer. Norman Steinberg was the last person that we lost, and I think we lost him today. Earlier. He was reported today, but he died on March 15th. The age of 83. He worked on Blazing Saddles, Free to Be You and Me. Do you remember that thing? Very, forward, positive, kids plus kind of thing. He worked on the TV show Dr. Doctor. And as much as I love Blazing Saddles, for my money, he worked on Johnny Dangerously, which was pretty great. He was a lawyer, hated being a lawyer. He met with Mel Brooks at the coffee shop, and it wouldn't leave Mel Brooks alone. And so he said, how about you write an episode of my show, Get Smart? And he did, and it was funny, and he quit his job being a lawyer, and he just became a writer. Anyway, sad to hear. He worked on My Favorite Year, and the Flip Wilson Show, and George Carlin was his writing partner. I mean, just what a life this guy had. So, and Blazing Saddles, man, they always say that you couldn't write something like that today. And now that's especially true. So anyway, that's who we lost this past weekend.
Jeff,
Ooh.
do you want to start the speed round?
I'll start it with something that's not even on the speed round, but
Don't make stuff up.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell has left the door open to come back to Evil Dead, even though that the new movie coming out, Evil Dead Rise, he's not in it. He didn't want to be in it. In an interview with Fangoria, Although to preface this, he has been doing the voice of Ash for games and such since, but physically actually being in film. And in Fangoria, he says, "I'll go on record here. These guys don't scare me. I worked on Xena." He says, if Sam says I, Sam Raimi, will direct another Evil Dead movie, then I, Bruce Campbell, will consider being in it.
Nice.
And he goes on, but yeah.
I, Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
No need to even say
And
anymore.
yeah,
Right.
it's funny. It just keeps going. It's pretty. His whole interview comments about it was hysterical. But yeah,
Bruce Campbell says, "My chin is ready."
yeah. So he will be back. Only if Sam does it. So
I want to talk about Disney's Disney Parks March competition they have going on.
The March Madness snack bracket.
Disneyland.
Sorry.
Thanks,
Pimp your
Sean. Disneyland versus Walt Disney World Munch Madness Snacket bracket.
No, Munch Madness. That's
Yeah.
even better than March Madness.
And it's interesting because one of the snacks that is in the lead is from Disney's California Adventure, and I've never heard of it.
Really? What is it?
It's called Choco Smash. And it's
Choco
apparently
Smash.
a candy bar that's available somewhere in Disney California Adventure.
Really?
okay.
Yeah. Never heard of it. And it's winning. And it won over the Matterhorn macaroon, which I think is a travesty because that is one of my favorite items in the parks.
Choco Smash has like a Kit Kat kind of vibe to it.
It does. I want one now that I've seen a picture of it. I don't know where to find it in Disney California
man.
Adventure, but I'm sure
Looks
I
like
can
it's
figure
on
that
screen
out.
right now.
Avengers
But-
Campus, and it's apparently huge.
Oh. Maybe
Is
it's
it
in
like
one
at
of
Pim's?
those. Maybe it's a dessert in one of those.
Meet the Choco Smash candy bar. This massive chunk of chocolate is big, bold, and made for a super hungry eater. The celestial-sized candy bar features a brownie base that's topped with caramel, peanuts, nougat, and peanut butter, all of which is covered in a rich layer of dark chocolate. Found at the Pim Test Kitchen for $8, this mega treat is big enough to split with 3 to 4 people. So, one Thor or a whole family.
Right. We'll have to try that.
Yeah,
Although,
I'm down.
We'll have to eat half of it and have the other half of it for later because there's only 2 of us.
Sure.
But really quickly, a rundown on where we currently are in case anybody wants to go vote in the Munch Madness Snacket bracket. We had churros versus churro toffee, with churros winning. Grilled cheese versus mac and cheese cone, with oddly the mac and cheese cone winning. We already talked about Choco Smash versus the Matterhorn. The Mickey Beignet versus the Mint Julep. Who do you think's the winner there?
Yeah, the beignet, but the mint julep's better.
Yeah. And then Dole Whip versus something called Night Blossom. Dole Whip is the winner.
Night Blossom.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of ice cream dessert. Lumpia versus Cheeseburger Spring Roll. Cheeseburger Spring Roll wins.
Ew.
Liege Waffle versus Wookie Cookie. Why don't we have Wookie cookies here? I want to
I
know.
don't know. Good grief.
And a
Wookie
Liege
cookies have
waffle?
one. A Liege waffle. It's a Belgian waffle. Like you would. It has a certain type of sugar on it. It's a very specific.
Can
type of
I
waffle.
just
It's
read-
yeasted.
I'm going to register my that I'm disturbed that they have added faces to all of these things.
No, they're friendly snacks. And finally, Lunchbox Tart versus School Bread. And the Lunchbox Tart, which looks like a glorified Pop-Tart, has
Gotcha.
won. So at this point, you are able to go in and vote on these things if you have Instagram. I don't have
Oh,
Instagram,
see.
so I can't vote.
Gotcha.
I do, but I don't know. I mean, and what's interesting, I assume that like items on the left are Disneyland and items on the right are Walt Disney
Yeah.
World, or are they
I mean,
Yeah.
it just says.
mixing it up?
No, everything on the left is Disneyland.
Okay, because they've given Dole Whip to Walt Disney World then,
Yeah, they have.
and that's sort of not cool. Just saying. And honestly, does anybody think that Dole Whip isn't going to win this?
It pretty much has to win.
Right? I mean,
tough one.
it's sort of the obvious choice.
But honestly, it's the only thing from Disney World that's really familiar, as
Yeah.
opposed to. I haven't tried the churro toffee. I've seen it a couple times and I've heard it's really good. But other than and I don't think I've tried the mac and cheese cone, although I've thought about it many times.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've tried the.
Well,
things.
and we don't get the Pop-Tart either, which is really kind of a bummer.
There are Pop-Tarts. They're for sale in the candy store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the same place.
Oh,
that the
you're
churro toffee
you're
is.
right. I remember
Real cheese.
looking at them. We made fun
Yeah.
of them.
And the lumpia that's over on the Disney World side, we can get that in the Tropical Hideaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at the Pop-Tarts, and there were some of them that were less than appetizing looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was really disturbing.
right.
All right.
I don't
Well,
know.
munch madness, huh? Well,
Yeah.
so this goes through the end of the month. It like ends on the 31st. Is that the deal?
I
huh?
believe it does. I mean, it
Okay.
should.
Taking place on the 31st is the final championship, it says.
There we go. It's like
Last day.
American Gladiator. Last snack standing.
Yeah.
Sean,
could be
what do you
anything.
want to talk about?
We've had a little bit of a roller coaster ride regarding the television series Willow.
Yes.
Neither Colleen nor I have seen it yet.
Oh, man.
You saw it, Jeff, and you liked it.
Yeah.
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 And I've seen people who adore it, and I've seen people who cannot stand it.
Yeah.
So that's why I have been on the fence to check it out. So there were reports that they were not going to get a second season.
Yeah.
And Ron Howard did the movie with George Lucas, and like that was a big deal, and so they did this new thing. And John Kasdan, who is Lawrence Kasdan's son, who's running the show, and he's also been writing movies and doing stuff like that. He's a very talented guy. Has apparently come forward and said, "No, we're still working on it. It's complex, and there's more story, and we'll have to see." And so there's this like super long novel that he posted about the whole thing. And it's like, he says, with the enthusiastic and unwavering support of Lucasfilm and Disney, we've developed and written what we hope is a brain-meltingly fun, richer, darker, and better Volume 2, which builds on Volume 1.
Yeah.
And so, it looks like it's a pretty good. And he's got this image of like Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3,
Yes.
which I guess showed up somewhere in the series.
It's a sort of an after credits picture.
Right. So, if you're a fan of Willow and you want more, there is more coming, despite news to the contrary.
Yeah. It's like a hiatus right now, kind of, right? In a sense.
Hiatus,
Kinda
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Kind of
Well,
like
and,
hiatus.
and they do because you have to. It takes a while to make stuff. I mean, look how much space we had between Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2 and Season 3. And I would like to think that they've taken into account the constructive criticism. I know they don't have to take the bullies into account, but the constructive criticism that they got. And, we'll apply that to a new season and make it, better. So we'll have to see. But yeah, if you heard it was canceled, not yet, according to John Kasdan.
We ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I guess we are. Let me see if there's anything important on here that I need to address that we didn't in our little teaser here. I don't think there is. I know that we talked about we did our review, and we talked about Willow and Lindeloff and Tron and The Great Escape and trailers, and I think we're good. like we missed anything. If you were trying to watch us on Facebook tonight on my page, I apologize. Facebook's mad at me for whatever reasons. I'm in Facebook jail. So apparently no streaming there. But YouTube is always there. Twitch is always there. The sci-fi.radio Facebook page apparently is getting the video. And it is what it is. We'll figure it out. They can't be mad at me forever. But they can be mad at me for 30 days. So we'll see what happens. For you guys who tuned in, thanks for being here. Thanks to Kit for all the hard work she does during the week, compiling our documents and stuff like that. Thanks to you guys over in the chat. You're the hardcore people. And we are always very grateful for your attendance over there. I'll be on the air tomorrow to wrap out Good Morning Tatooine. That will be Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be back again to do this next Thursday. Hopefully everybody in perfect health. Thanks for letting us take last week off. We were pretty darn sick.
Listeners too.
Yeah, all of you guys, man. Stay well, stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay safe, stay dry. Just, be.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always,
May the
Force
be with you. Let's see. I should give you guys some credits over here on the page, wherever that is. Just so that you guys know, Chris Cosmomoose Medway writes our theme. He's an awesome dude. You can go to cosmomoose.bandcamp.com. He's releasing a new album of cool, spacey techno bops. And so you'll want to check that out because he's a pretty talented guy.
Yep.
In the meantime, if you are over on the radio, go say goodbye to you guys.